They sent me. We've never been out of state Oklahoma. They sent me to Illinois to train with Hughes and Mark Fiore and Matt Beach and Robbie Lawler and John Madsen and Jeremiah Riggs, man, Dustin Jacoby, Cortez Coleman. The list goes on and on. There's so many gladiators under one roof. And I became super spoiled. And it's the best gym in the world, man. I think that even to this day, people don't realize how underrated that gym was at the time that we had it. Sorry about that, man. Cottonmouth, I'm dry.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. That's that weight cut life.
Yeah, cutting that fucking weight. Oh. Sorry. Excuse me.
No, you're fine.
To be, in there with a bunch of monsters and under the tutelage of Mark Fiore. Best time, one of the best eye-opening times of my life. It was like my college year, a fighter house, a fight fucking dorm, and training with the most elite guys from around the world on a daily basis. Man, it was definitely the craziest years of my life, 5 years of my life. And then the majority of the guys that I trained with, man, all of us became pretty successful after leaving there. You know what I mean? When our generation of the hit squad closed down, not sure if you're familiar with what happened. Jesse Finney bought it out. And, a bunch of the guys that were under Mark, we just kind of followed him. But we all stayed pretty connected, man. We all stayed. We were our own hit squad alumni. We're all still brothers and tight, and and all of us pretty much still fighting and are pretty successful.
Oh, definitely. With a lot of those names mentioned, how was that for you? Being that you're on the smaller end of pretty much everybody that you just mentioned, all those names. Everybody is at least one, if not a couple of weight classes ahead. Especially back then, Cortez was still probably around the welterweight region. Dustin was he was a middleweight. All those sorts of guys. Robbie, obviously a welterweight. How was it? How did it feel for you having to go up against these bigger gladiators on a regular basis?
It made me rise to the occasion. You know what I'm saying? Like, the toughest motherfucker in the family is going to be the little brother. Why? Because the big brothers whooped that ass every day, made sure that he was on par with what was fixing to happen to him. I walked into that gym, and my very first sparring partner, and a lot of people that Mark Fiore remembers this. He'll remember it because the first person he put me with here, he goes, he said, "Well, it's good you showed up, man." He's like, "We're sparring." He said, "You bring some gear?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got some gloves." And he just kind of looked at me funny. He's like, "You got some shin guards?" I was like, "Nah." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, you got headgear?" And I was like, "Nah." He's like, "He got me headgear and he got me some shin guards." And he first fucking person he put me with was Robbie Lawler, bro. Oof. That was my ruthless introduction to fucking MMA gym outside of Oklahoma. And he toyed with me for about 4 minutes and 50 fucking seconds. And he looked at me right about the time, a 10-second deal clap rolled around. And he goes, "You ready?" And I was like, "Motherfucker, come on." And he goes, boom, and dropped me on the dot as soon as he called it. And ever since that day, man, like, I made it a point, like, I'm not leaving this place until I do the same thing to you. You know what I mean? So it was just like getting beat up by my big brothers. I tell people all the time, I tell my guys, my students, I said for 2 years, I spent with my legs above my head because I couldn't stop their takedowns. And it wasn't their takedowns, it was their transitions. It was their punches to their takedowns is why I couldn't stop them. And it was an eye-opening situation for me, something that I teach my guys to this day how to capitalize on. And, it took me a long time to figure that out, man. But once I did that, I leveled up and I made the UFC, and here we are.
So let's talk about your time in the UFC. I mean, you've got one of my favorite guys to watch in the UFC, just ever since he's been around, has been Matt Brown. But you've got a victory over Matt Brown. So what was that experience being like? What's that?
So there's not many people that's meaner than that guy, but I'm a little meaner, I
think. Well, I mean, it kind of played itself out in that situation. So just
that was the point of it. I mean, that was all I really cared about in that fight. I mean, I love Matt Brown. I watched every one of his fights. He's fought some of my best friends. And, when I took that fight at the point in time of taking that fight, that's what it was about. It was like, I know he's a mean dude, but he can't beat me. I'm a mean dude that knows how to fight mixed martial arts. He's a Muay Thai guy, so I know how to beat styles, man. You know what I mean? I love Matt Brown. He's a fucking badass. Like, he's ruthless motherfucker, but I'm a mean ass dude, and I know how to win.
I just love hearing that. So what would you say was the biggest takeaway from your experience in the UFC?
I guess would be the after. The after for me is the lesson I'm able to bring to the table for everyone else is that every show amounts to that, but that show in itself doesn't mean anything if you're not ready for it. You know what I mean? It's like every other show. If you're not ready for it, then you're not going to get the promotion to the next one. I mean, granted, there's nothing past the UFC, but if you don't do good in the UFC and you're not present and prepared for the opportunity the UFC provides, man, you know what I'm saying? It's like you can't focus on this. You have to focus on being the best you can be for that moment, whether it's the show before that or the UFC. When I got the UFC, I just seen it was like every other show. You know what I mean? And so you can't think with the mindset that you made it because you're still making it. You know what I mean? Like that was the biggest lesson that I took from the UFC. When I and I look back and from a personal standpoint, I'm a little bitter. You know what I mean? Like, and you can kind of know if you know my story, you know why. I didn't get to shine like that. I mean, I just beat Brown. I'm on a 2-fight win streak, knockout Forrest Pettis, knockout Elias, submit Brad Brown, and I'm fixing to fight Sean Pearson on what's the biggest card in fucking UFC history still. And here I am still waiting. Here I am still fighting. But for sake of whatever the fuck it was, I'm pending. I'm in the air, and a lot of people have lost sight of what I was doing, and the love that I have for the sport, man. Like you said at the beginning of this, you said that was your words, not mine. I was Donald before Donald was Donald, man, and or Cowboy before Cowboy was Cowboy. You know what I mean? And or to the world. And I'm still sitting here. I'm still here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going anywhere. That's not a gimmick, man, to say that I'm the best in the world because a guy that was pretending to be the best in the world and said that, and then he leaves, you can't, hold him accountable on that aspect. But I tell people I'm the best in the world all the time, man, and it rings true every time I get a chance to prove it,
Definitely. Well, and you kind of hit on something that Chris Camozzi talked about here in our fight series of Factory X that we do. Coach has the fighters do speeches every Tuesday, and that's what he had kind of talked about in his speech was getting to the UFC isn't the hard thing, it's staying in the UFC. He said that's what was told to him at one of his very first early times there at the UFC. Would you? I mean that kind of just sounds like you're echoing that same sentiment right there.
That's it, man. It's not about every one of us can make it there, but very few of us get to live that life and stay there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. My guys had the opportunity and the blessing to have somebody that's been there and that knows what to do in the same circumstances and situations to make the good moves for them and their family and their lives. That's what a guy like me is for. I'm not just a coach of the sport and trying to make money from it or anything like that. I'm here to help these guys benefit their actual lives from it.